Yo, what's up, familia? We're gonna go ahead and get started in the next 2 minutes. I just want to make sure that we have everybody on today's call. So whatever chat you're in within Powerhouse, go ahead and send in a screenshot. Let people know that we're live and we're active because this is the first Sunday night live of August, and I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited to go through plays, and we have a one of an amazing individual here, a part of our community on today's call, and this is his first Sunday Night Live. And if you're here within Reno, definitely you're gonna be represented today. So looking forward to today's session. We're gonna get started here in the next 1 to 2 minutes. Let's go into the chats. Let's people know that we're live and we're active, and we're gonna get going here very soon. Yo, 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 what's up, familia? I'm super happy and grateful to be on another Sunday Night Live. And today I'm actually a little bit more excited because honestly, it is the start of a brand new month. But what I want to do before we get started, go ahead and go into the chat box here on YouTube. Let us know where you are tuning in from. Let us know from what city across the US, probably, right? Because can't say across the globe because people in Europe are asleep. But around the US, let us know what city you are representing here tonight, right? I know we have a little lag, so we'll wait a little bit. But with saying that, this is the start of a brand new month, right? Today is August 2nd. So this is actually the first Sunday Night Live of August of 2026, which is crazy because we are at the second half of the year. We are at the second half of the year. It's actually the second month of the second half, which is crazy because I don't know about y'all, but 2026 has gone on pretty quick. A lot has happened, but the year is just flying through. And one thing that I always say is just because of the start of a month, every single month is a brand new opportunity for you to get to that next level within the markets, right? And I'm excited this month because I think there's a lot of volatility that is to come, a lot of opportunities. As we know, the last month and a half, there's a lot of things going on with the World Cup and a lot of different things. And believe it or not, it did slow down some things. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities. We saw a lot of growth and a lot of people saw a lot of success, but just buckle up because I think we're going into a very volatile third quarter and even fourth quarter of the year here very soon. But to get today's session going, I'm not here by myself. As y'all know, we've been able to have one of the, myself, like an admin, right, with other individuals who are here growing as leaders within Powerhouse. And this individual we have hopping on is actually representing Reno, Nevada. So if you're in Reno, go ahead and put Reno in the chat because Alan is somebody that I've been able to know for, a good amount of time now. I think now he's been in the community for over a year. And one thing I love to see is the consistency and consistency it takes to just grow in these markets. Alan is somebody that I want y'all to know has been consistent. He's came to our Blueprint conference, even though it was only his first year. He really decided to make that first start. And I've seen so much growth, not even just trading or even investing because he has both sides, but even just as a person within here. And he'll talk a little bit more about himself and his journey. And he's even going to do some live analysis with you guys, right? So I'm looking forward to that. And also, I want to let y'all know it gives you perspective on how much you can learn in a year span. Like, I want you all to realize, I know here in Powerhouse is normal to like a year is like 10 years, But here, like I want to let you know, in the industry of trading in the markets, 1 year is not a lot of time for that to have people like Alan know what he knows, and obviously he's still developing every day. He's still a student of the game, and that's something that I really, really respect. Is that he's always been the student of the game. He's never been too big for the little things. He's always done the foundational work, and I think that's why his goals and his aspirations are really even growing even more. So with saying that, bro, Alan, I appreciate you for being on today's session. I'm gonna go ahead and let you take the mouse here, give the squad a little bit of what you're looking at, but also let them know who you are, and a little bit of your journey within Powerhouse, and then we'll get things going, bro. But I'll let you take it away.
All right. What's up, fam? Hope everybody can hear me. Hope everybody's having a good night. Like Gil said, my name's Alan. I'm from Reno, Nevada. I started Powerhouse back in May of last year. And so far within this first year, it's been great. I've been having a lot of growth. Learning, to trade and invest. I came in kind of knowing a little bit of crypto just prior, um, just with my knowledge that I slowly, uh, just by myself, kind of knew and heard about crypto a little bit, but I knew I wanted to learn more and get more into trading and investing. So, and I found Powerhouse, and it's been a year, a little over a year. So, and I'm so grateful and thankful to be in this community. And yeah, it's been a crazy. It's been a ride for sure. The first time I looked at a chart, I'm not gonna lie, like my head was hurting. I remember the first time I opened up the chart, I was like, what is this? And then so I think back to that, I have those moments where I get kind of like, oh, like I missed a trade, or it kind of feels like you take two step forward and then one step back, and then you're like, oh, I feel like I should be making more progress. But then I think back to when I first started. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, a year ago, you know, I didn't even like even looking at a chart. I was just like, my head was hurting. But yeah, no, but thankfully, I've been trading and investing slowly but surely. Mainly focus on trading a live futures account, and just compounding and growing. That has been my focus, as well as building crypto, and more recently a stock portfolio. So I just want to show you guys a little bit of what I'm looking at. And here we go. Let me see, where is this? Can you guys see my screen?
No, not yet. You should be able to share now, though. It's like a share button.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, okay. I think I got it. There we go.
Yes, sir. You're good to go, bro.
You good? Okay, perfect. So yeah, guys, like I said, my focus right now is trading futures. Just for me, I when I first was comparing CFDs to futures, it was just a lot easier for me to understand like the contracts, and as far as like the points and stuff, and the ticks, and the amount of ticks and stuff, and like what it's worth. So that is just it was just a lot easier for me with futures. So it's mainly what I trade. And my main focus has been Nasdaq or MNQ. And so what I am looking at here for today and starting the week, we are starting, the first candle here, which is actually the first one of the month too. And So mainly what I like to look at, and I've been mainly learning from Zach, tapping in more into Valentino and the trade house guys, a little bit of Siva and stuff. So try to catch all of their live streams and just kind of take a little bit from each and every one of them is what I've been doing. But what I like to look at is like to play off the bigger time frame, do my top-down analysis, and I like to go down into the 4 hour. And after that, what I can see is these relatively equal highs right here. So I want to see price come and take that up there. And then also, what I also like to look at is volume. So one specifically on the 4 hour time frame that stands out to me is this 4 hour trap candle right here. And also there's some absorption if you look down at that candle. So once you see that absorption, um, for me, I've been seeing the candles that they like to gravitate and either bounce or play off like those absorption because there was like buyers and sellers were pretty much fighting at that point is the way I like to think of it. So on the 4 hour, something that I'm seeing right there, I like to put mine in red. So what I want to see is if it comes up, takes that liquidity and tap into that 4 hour order block, that'll give me a higher probability. And if I come down into the 1 hour block to kind of like zoom it in a bit, to we kind of have there's some absorption too in this order block too. So it kind of gives you a little bit more confidence. And one thing too that I've been learning recently more from Valentino is this internal liquidity. I know Matteo had talked about it once too, and I was like, oh man, I was like, I just watching Valentino as well too, and talk about that internal liquidity, which is usually that 50% trap candle or less. Um, but this one, it looks like it already came up and took past that 50. But it's also giving us some more on this higher right up here on top, right? So it's what I'm looking at. Um, but then again, we also got to think that we're also coming off this lower zone under here, and we might possibly be shifting up to more bullish scenario as well. So, I always kind of try to look at both of them. And I also see this down candle, this last sell candle right here, which can also give a buy opportunity. So we got that aggressive push down, institutional move up, left that 4 hour order block right there with the absorption on the volume. So that is something that can possibly come down and tap into. Um, and again, I think this one we might have, if it doesn't give us a bit, kind of depending on the high up here, I think we might have that 50% internal liquidity. Yeah, so we're kind of relative right there. If you guys follow Valentino, we got that internal trap candle, 50% liquidity under here too. So it's something that I've been trying to learn more and tap into with liquidity moving internally to externally. Just following Valentino. So yeah, guys, it's what I'm looking at for NQ right now. And like I said, I like to also look at the CFDs charts as well and kind of compare the two and see also if they got those relative that relative price action too. Is if I see that, then it gives you a little bit more compliments as well. So we kind of do got that little 4 hour doji candle right here, but we don't have the volume absorption. But those doji candles too are something to look out for right there. So this is on the FXCM, CFDs. And you see we do have that 4 hour order block down here for the buy, which is on the CFDs. Um, yeah, see that one does give us the same as the NQ with the absorption model. So I mean, sometimes yeah, with those absorption, I really like to look at that with the volume. I've been definitely learning how to read more of the volume and the tape reading is the trade house guys like to call it and stuff like that. Um, so it's definitely what I have been looking at. I'll try to like mark up other pairs, but honestly, I mainly just trade NQ. I try to like do a little bit of gold, but gold just has been crazy. So I know a lot of you guys in the community be killing it with gold. Props to you guys. I'm trying to catch up there with the gold, but I played a little bit safer with the NQ for now. But like I said, you guys, I also wanted to go over a little bit of stocks too. As I came in with, knowing a little bit of crypto, right? So I learned about crypto and then I came in to the community, learned more about crypto, started building my crypto portfolio. And then I've slowly just started seeing like, oh, you know what? Stocks are also pumping and I wasn't too familiar with stocks. And now that I'm in the community, I was like, okay, now I'm seeing the importance of building a stock portfolio. So that has been a lot of my focus recently too, as well as, DCAing into to some of the crypto projects and stuff. So a couple of the stocks here that I have been watching and also tapping into to Mike and Patrick on their live sessions and Jordan too, now that he's on the stock side, is well, here's one is Chewy. Chewy's one that Mike had called out. I remember seeing it on his live stream. One that I personally did take a position in is one of them. And also Circle, I know is another one too that has been talked about too a lot on the live streams. And I just want to say like the importance of also, we're traders, but we're also investors. And sometimes it's like for me, where I'm still trading, I would consider myself like intermediate trader. Um, where I see some, I take some losses, but I'm also building my portfolios where it's like I see my trading account, I might not see it where I want it, it's a work in progress, but then I'm also have my portfolios, right, where I can see my stock portfolio. Like, hey, okay, this one's doing good, also catching some plays on there. And kind of gives you like a little bit of that balance of both too, where you're putting your money work for you, where you're not just trading, but you're also in the investment side. So I definitely think it's like really important for us to definitely start, building. There's opportunities in both right now with both crypto and stocks. And then, they both move very differently is what I've been learning more recently, and it's just like it's crazy and cool. It's all new and stuff like that. But with Circle, something that I just wanted to show you guys as well that I learned is I started to learn the on balance volume, and I know that some of you guys have started to learn it too. Um, but this really helps you and gives you more of like that conviction of like, where to take a position to again where volume is everything, where you can see on Circle, for example, we kind of been hanging around this zone, but something Jordan has gone over again with the on balance volume down here is you see the volume going up, but price is staying relatively like in this area, right? It's kind of just hanging out there. So it's kind of like, you see that once you see this on balance volume kind of shoot up and price is lagging, then you're like, okay, there's a lot more players in there. That's when it gives you more conviction, where you feel more confident in taking a position. Another really good example, and I know that Patrick has gone over it on his channel, and it's something that has been talking about on the midweek huddle is path too. This one's kind of moved a little bit more now, but when it was like down at these areas, there was some divergence down here where the on balance volume was ramping up already, but price was slowly lagging behind. So this is a good play too here with path. If this comes down here, it would definitely be something to look into and consider. Um, so that is definitely one of them. But yeah, so far you guys, I know Paramount too. Paramount's something that has been, brought up in the community a lot. As I see Paramount here on the daily, probably go to the weekly. You kind of hear it with it coming down, prices coming down. What I want to see is I want to see some action down here with the on balance volume. If I start seeing more action down here and some more volume up here, that'll definitely give me a little bit more confidence to add to my portfolio for the long run. And I know Junior had been calling out a lot for like the options and stuff like that. Myself, I have not dove into options yet. I still have to go in and learn and definitely get into the option side, but for sure I'm definitely building a portfolio. So if you guys go here onto the Zinrai Live under Jordan's channel under the stocks and crypto, you guys can find the on using on balance volume for long-term picks. So it's definitely a good video to watch, you guys. Definitely for like the investing side and stuff. And I've used it looking at cryptos and stuff like that. And so it gives you more confidence, right, in taking those positions where, like I said, if you where it gives you more like definitely more confidence, or you're not just catching that falling knife. But yeah, you guys, that is what I have so far. If you guys have any questions, for sure, let me know.
Perfect, bro. Nah, I appreciate you. Honestly, for coming here, giving a lot of game, bro. You came in and gave a lot of game. I'm like, all right, like
Yeah,
it- it's
yeah,
I love to see that. So fam, put a fire emoji in the chat if you guys took something away from Alan's marking up, and I like how simple you look at it, and I can tell, bro, who you study, which is crazy from like how you mark up. I'm like, yeah, that's like a Zach going into a little bit more Valentino, and then like little sprouts of like Jordan, right? So I love to see
yeah.
it, bro. to be honest. And let me ask you this, bro, before we continue the session today. I know I want you to be able to relate to a lot of people, which you already said a lot of great things here, right? You've been in part of Powerhouse for how long?
It has been a year, like a year and a couple months now, about a year and 2 months.
Okay, dope. Now let's give this perspective, right? You know, we have some people on today's call who are actually a month in or 2 months in,
Yeah.
right? We have some new people that have joined the community recently. So what is a one piece of advice you would give to somebody that is first month, second month that you would give yourself if you were to go back, now knowing what you know, going back to Allen 1, 2 months in, what would be that piece of advice you would give them when it comes to the markets?
Honestly, like being a 1 month, 2 months in is just be a sponge. Like be a sponge because like it's a lot. I know it gets confusing. It's a lot to take in. You see the different pairs, different markets, crypto stocks, futures, CFDs, like it gets overwhelming. Um, it definitely is overwhelming. But I would say, but just be a sponge. Learn as much as you can, just absorb as much knowledge as you can, and then process it and slowly just start implementing it and just putting it into practice in the charts. Definitely and just choose. I would say definitely two. Just choose one market. Like if you just want to just focus just on the Forex or just the indices or just commodities, pick one pair or two. Because when I first started, I was trying to like mark up everything. I was like, damn, I was like, this ain't working out. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely important. Just stick to one or two pairs. I mean, I still stick to one mainly just trading NQ. Is my main pair that I trade. I want to start doing a little bit more the currencies, where as far as like swing trading them and holding those for a little bit longer. But again, just with time, that's another one of my focuses. But yeah, definitely for sure, it's just be a sponge. Be a sponge for sure, especially I'd say for the first 6 months to a year for sure.
I love that. Nah, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for being on here. It's first of many. Definitely looking forward to it, bro. So again, appreciate the value you're giving
Yeah,
to the
for
squad,
sure.
my brother. I love it.
Yeah,
Cool.
of course.
So perfect, Familia. So we're gonna go ahead and continue the session. We'll be done here in maybe like 15, 20 minutes. But I did definitely wanted to come and add on. I know Alan already did a lot of great things when it comes to NASDAQ. I'm happy you already broke that down. And it's crazy, bro. I'm actually looking at the same exact areas, which is
Oh,
crazy.
perfect. There we go.
Yeah, like, same exact area, so I'm not even gonna go over that. I will go a little bit through gold since I know that's something that I've been able to really do a lot, and I know a lot of people in the community really love gold here within the community. So I know that's something that's pretty popular. Like if you trade gold, put a G in the chat, right? If you trade gold, put a G in the chat. If you're somebody who trades golds, right? I know there's a lot of gold lovers, right? And I want to let you know you can make money in any market because all matters is risk to reward at the end of the day, right? Just being honest. But I do love gold myself as well. Actually, over the last 6 years, it is the most profitable asset in my journey. If you guys didn't know, it is gold. And then number two is actually right now NAS, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so I did want to go through a couple things because anything that I look at, most of the things that we trade, I want you guys to realize, and I've said this a lot, but for the ones that haven't heard it, whatever it is, I look at it as an investment before I look at it as a trading. The reason why is because I understand what these markets actually, the component of it is more of the investing side, and there's trading in between that, right? I see trading as the opportunity to catch in and out. Obviously, is like the noise, and then investing is a bigger perspective. But I always like to think of if you know the bigger picture, it helps you better understand the smaller picture. right? So one thing I wanted to break down today real quick when it comes to something like gold is what it has done in the last, couple of years during this time. If you guys have never seen something called the equity clock, something that, all the educators basically on Zinride, the Valentinos, the Jordans, the Zacks, the Sivas have gone through, it just really shows the average of a market over the last 20 years. As you can see, this is actually gold for the last from the last 20 years, what it's kind of done. And you can kind of look at this and say, okay, well, this is not the only thing, meaning if this market shows a month that is bullish doesn't mean it's going to be bullish, but it's an extra form of confirmation. So one thing I did, and I actually did a session out here for the UK team, and a couple of guests earlier today, and I went through this and I wanted to share this with you guys. Right now, I think we're in a pivotal time when it comes to something like commodities and even the stock market, even the crypto market. And I like to always, like I said, look at the past, right? Right now, we are in June through August time of session, and I was starting to see what has happened throughout the last couple of years in the same exact zone. And one thing I've been able to see is that there's been a consistency. And that consistency I've seen is that technically around June, May, June, July, and August, we have been consolidating. And I don't know if you guys have realized, and I know there's plays to be made, but right now in the last 3 months, gold has been consolidating. It hasn't been able really being able to do much. And one thing I've also noticed is that after this move, so when we're talking about Q3 to go into Q4, so August, September, October, November, December, January, February, gold was actually bullish. And it's interesting to me because I saw this on the chart first, right? And then I saw this and I was like, wait a second, this kind of confirms that. Because in the data from the last 20 years, you can see that last 20 years, around July, August, September, October, November, December, we're bullish, right? And during April, May, June, July, sometimes it's either decreasing or consolidating. And the beginning of the year is bullish as well. And that's interesting to me because right now we're going into August, right? August, September, October, November. And I really like where the market is at the moment, right? So once I understand the bigger time frame, which I'm looking at the weekly right now, right? I start to say, okay, I ask myself, what is this going to look like during this week going to next week? And one thing I really like, and it's something that I've learned with gold really likes to respect areas of a lot of data, right? A lot of touch points, like they like to do, call on J7 if you're studying J7, is seeing the daily high and the daily low. Now, this really works on the higher time frame because there's a lot of money in these pockets on the higher time frame. And mostly with something like commodities or even indices, I've seen a lot of repetition of this. And as we can see, there was a lot of momentum that shifted the market here, which is kind of looking similar around here. And this also adds to what I just said earlier, right? And this is something I wanted to talk about. It's very important in my perspective. I've been here trading for 6 years. I've seen a lot of traders come in and out. And the biggest issue for a lot of us as traders is that sometimes we're so fixated on the smaller time frame. And guess what? It's not just in trading, like actually that aspect of trading, it's also perspective of trading. We're so focused on the weekly win. We're so focused on the daily win. We're even sometimes focused on the month to month win, but we don't understand what is the 5 year win? What is the 10 year win? What is the 15 year win? What is the 20 year win? And I know for some of you guys, you maybe are 1 month in, 2 months in, maybe even a year in, and you might not see that perspective, and that's okay. But the sooner you understand that, in my opinion, the less stressful and the more fulfilling that the markets like this can actually be for you. So what I really like for gold right now is I do like it coming on an upside. Now, I said this on the Monday call last week, so I'm not going to go over it too much again, but I want to be able to let the market show me the trends. There's three ways the market moves. We know this: downtrend, consolidating, uptrend, right? Now, who in the chat box can tell me what is the market doing right now on the higher time frame? Are we uptrending, downtrending, or consolidating? So put a C for consolidating, for put a U for an sorry for yeah, I guess UT for an uptrend, and then UD for a downtrend, right? Or put down for downtrend, up T for sorry U for uptrend. I'm over here getting confused, and then C for consolidating, right? So let me know in the chat box. U for uptrend, D for downtrend, C consolidating. Okay, easy, right? Consolidating, right? We are consolidating. One thing I've noticed, mostly with gold, I do not like to trade this with gold. I don't like to trade this really with any market. And you say, Gil, well, that's been the last 1 month and a half. Can I not trade? Of course you can. You just got to realize the probability isn't as high. And I've seen a lot of people win during this month, in the past month, and I also seen some people take some else. And I'm here to tell you, it's not necessarily your strategy. It's not necessarily your edge. It's just the timing of the market. So personally, right now, I want to see on the daily time frame, okay, because the daily time frame was showing us for so long that we were trending down, right? We were creating lower lows and lower highs, okay? And what I want to see is I want to see something called break of structure, right? What I want to really see the market do, and I know I have this high right here, but I think this is an important high. And if you even go to the 4 hour, it's an important high. I want to see the market create a higher high. Okay, I want to see the market show me that it actually wants to break above to continue. Now, the question is, do you have to wait for that? Yes, you can, but not necessarily, right? You can maybe look for opportunities because of a lot of the confluence that we have. Remember, confluence is multiple things putting it together. So the higher time frame, I was looking at the seasonality, right? A lot of different things, and you can maybe catch this move before even that. But if you're newer in these markets, I highly recommend to stick to the market structure, right? Ask yourself, what is the market doing? Creating lower lows and lower highs? Has a market created some sort of break of structure? Has it broken above key highs? As of right now, it hasn't. So right now, I mean, the buys don't really make too much sense. So if you're newer here, it might be smart for you to wait. Now, for somebody who's more experienced, maybe can go to a lower time frame, right? Maybe can go to a lower time frame and see, okay, where could there be opportunity to catch the move up, seeing it on the bigger time frame because we understand kind of what the seasonality is showing me. And one key area that I personally like is around here. And the reason why is because I saw gold, right, create this market where on the 1 hour, for example, it was creating this. It was creating lower lows, lower highs, lower low, something like that, right? Let's just do this, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay. Higher high, higher low, higher high, right? Now it's choppy. Again, it's consolidating. But one thing I saw is that the market did come and actually break, but even right now, in my opinion, is still leaving a lot of liquidity up here, right? I like to call this the reversal, right? And there's a lot of ways you can do this. This is not my specialty. My specialty is not reversals, but I do like what it's doing. Now, one thing that I like with reversals, and actually something that J7 is really good at, by the way, with Nina, is a lot of touch points is that when the market wants to reverse, it shows you that with a lot of touch points, mainly with gold actually in indices. It loves to do that. It loves to come to certain areas once and then twice and then third time maybe and then actually go. And this is an area that I had marked up actually last week that actually came into my area on Friday. Now, one thing I realized that the volatility on Friday is not the same as every other day. The markets close at 4 p.m. on Friday, so the opportunity isn't the same. So even though it came into my area, I personally did not execute, right? I didn't like it, even though it could still now just continue going higher. But I asked myself, is there a probability for the market to come back in this area? And that's yes. And the reason why I like this place in the first place, and I actually even like it all the way back here, actually, the reason why I like this area in the first place is if I go back here, this gave us a big push up and then left something called an imbalance. Now, on top of that, it also left us something called a true imbalance. Shout out to Junior who actually taught me this, right? That when you have a candle with no wick, which actually, now looking at this, this has a very small wick and it still came to fill it, actually. Yeah, it has a very small wick, but it does technically have one, but it still came in and filled this imbalance, right? It came and filled this imbalance right here in the market. And it came, and you know what's crazy? It actually came once, and then it came twice, and it actually came deeper the second time. Now, what I'm looking for to start the week is, can this market come back into this area? Can it come here? Because why? This was a liquidation. This took a lot of buyers. People were buying here. They thought, well, they were up. It barely wicked. Guess what? A lot of people didn't take profit and it came back to their break even. But now there's still money sitting here. And there's actually the lower imbalance right here. Right. So my question is, can the market come back into this liquidation, this big down candle in this imbalance before it continues higher? Okay. Put a five in the chat if this is making sense. I hope this is making sense. I'll go over your head. But I personally really like this area on gold. Right. I am looking for buys, just even on the higher time frame. But personally, this is a low probability trade for me, personally. Right. A high probability trade for me is going to be when we actually break above this and we show higher high, higher low. And I know some of y'all don't have the patience, and sometimes I don't have the patience. But what I realize is this: when gold is trending, fam, it trends for months. Like gold was trending here from October to 2025 into January of 2026. It was trending for months. And that's when I've seen my trading personally seen the most success. And I'm not saying it's going to be that for you or whatever it is, but that's just my perspective. So I'm personally going to be looking for that play as a low probability, but I am going to be more attractive when this starts to create higher highs and higher lows and me riding this on the way up because I can see this happening finishing the year. Okay, so that's my perspective when it comes to something like gold. I already talked about NAS. I like what Allen has. I see what NAS can be doing. It has those two areas right here. This higher area right here that I really like, and then this lower area, the exact areas that Allen has. I did like wanted to kind of see lower, but I don't know. Right now, seeing the SPX go higher, like it can literally create all time highs this week. Me seeing something like US 30 create all time highs, like, I mean, I can just see NAS continue. But my question is, can it give us an opportunity one more time before it goes higher? It can, but it doesn't have to. So I'm going to kind of see what it's going to do if it wants to reject here. And if it doesn't reject here, I'm just going to see movement up. Like I'm really just going to see this taking it all the way to all-time highs again because people think that things go lower and they do, but sometimes they always don't. And seeing something like a 13% decrease on something like NAS is something that's normal. Like literally like 11, 13% decrease there, 11 to 13%, 12% there. Like here saw it was a bigger one because it was like a big thing in 2025, but this down was 13 14% and then it came more, right? So I don't know, could we see like a pump up and down? I don't know, but I am going to be following the trend. And right now it showed us that it wanted to come down and now it's creating new higher highs and higher lows. So I'm going to be a little bit patient, but I do like potential buys on NAS. But I do like this higher sell only because it's like a daily trend, right? This kind of sticks to my daily. Once it breaks above here, then I'm completely bullish. Okay, that's just my perspective again at the end of the day. But I really like what things are doing. Now, the last thing I did want to go through a little bit is crypto. I don't know if you guys are investing in crypto or looking at crypto. Like, put crypto in the chat if you guys are looking at crypto. I am developing my stock portfolio, but I'm not gonna go through it because Alan already went through it. The plays that he talks about are the plays I'm looking at. So there's not too much there. But I am looking at crypto. And there's a couple of things. There's positive things and then it's not some positive things. One thing I realize is that crypto is not really going to go anywhere. But one thing I also realize is that crypto is going to be decompressing, right? I've had some good conversations. I actually had a conversation with Jordan Morgan, one of our educators, and I've been seeing a lot of different things. And I just been looking back at history, and I remember just studying and looking at the stock market. And I saw that at the beginning, there was a lot of big markets, right? There's a lot of big companies. And even to this day, there's a lot of big companies, right? But one thing I realized is this in crypto, there was a lot of hype, right? There was a lot of, meme coins, a lot of things that didn't really have value. And that's really every industry. When something is new, everybody creates things in it and the hype dies down and never comes back. But the things that are actually have the right foundation are the ones that stay long term and the ones that last over decades. right? And then others die. And we've seen that in crypto, but I think we're about to see one of the biggest decompressions in crypto history. So when you look at crypto today, okay, you look at and it has 18,000 coins, 18,106. That's because anybody can create a coin. It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not out of the norm. There's not very regulation yet. You can just create a coin. So the thing is, what makes one different from another? Well, number one is stability. Number two is also money that's coming in it. And there's some of these assets that you want to ask yourself, where is the money coming from? Who is using this the most? So when we look at something like Bitcoin, what do you think about? You think about banks, you think about institutions, you think about countries, right? A lot of foundation, a lot of stability. You look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum is the second biggest crypto. It's been the second biggest crypto for however long I've been in crypto, and it's the most used one, right? There's protocols out there that use it heavy. And now with things like tokenization, which I'm not going to go too much into it, but a lot of things are happening. This creates a really strong stability. And even the rumor that Ethereum is owned by the US, like there's a lot of money there. You know, as long as the US is here, I think Ethereum is in business. But then you might have projects. And I'm not saying it's not a good project. I do have some Solana, but what I realize is this: who uses Solana? Right? Well, Solana is actually used a lot with a lot of meme coins that have came in. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. But one thing I ask myself is the money in a certain project here long term? Or is it just short term? These are the questions I'm starting to ask myself. And what I'm actually starting to do is reduce even more the cryptos that I'm in. So what I would highly recommend is to keep your eyes peeled for the bigger cryptos, for the Bitcoins, for the Ethereums. I would even put Chainlink on that list. I would put Ondo on that list because it's still a main cap coin, right? Some of these are here, but I wouldn't really put them on that list yet. I would stay close to the bigger ones. Even if you don't have a lot of capital, it's fine. A lot of people say, well, don't invest in Ethereum because you don't have 1800. That that's fine because guess what? Some of the cryptos that we think will arrive actually won't. And that's a big pill that I personally had to tell myself, and a big pill that I think a lot of people will have to swallow. And I'm not saying this because I know it. I'm just getting information from a lot of places that have experience, and I'm also having my own judgment. So my best piece of advice is stay plugged in, right? Stay plugged into what we have, stay plugged into the education. I personally like Bitcoin potentially seeing us, giving us an opportunity, maybe in the era that it was before in the 50s. If it doesn't stay here, fam, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this. I wouldn't. And actually, I want to see this. I would love to see this because one thing that we haven't seen yet in crypto is depression. We haven't seen anger and depression. We haven't seen the anger and depression that we saw in FTX. Once we see that crypto is dead on social media and all this, that's when I personally want to start looking. I'm looking for something like this to happen. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But one thing I will say is always have a plan. Have a plan if the market goes up and have the plan if the market goes down. So if you're somebody that's new in investing, this is your best time to start studying crypto. Go into Max Terrell's session here on the Zenrai, right? Go to courses, go to the stocks and crypto, go to Patrick Kenny session on stocks, right? Go to Mag Sotero's session on crypto. This is the best time to put yourself in position because that's what I did back in this time. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a live example. Back in 2020, I took 6 months to learn crypto with no money to invest. No money to invest. And guess what happened in 2021, 2020, around this time? The stimulus check happened. And I was working. I got my stimulus check. That was $1,200. And I bought one Ethereum when it was $1,200. And I rode this up. I took some profits here. I should have took more. Some of that I used for my honeymoon to Barcelona when I went to on vacation out there. And some of it I holded it and I holded it for too long, right? But I got the opportunity that most people didn't get because I educated myself before I had the capital or before the moves even happened. So my best opinion right now is to stay educated. Stay educated in stocks, stay educated in crypto. And if you're asking me, minimum keep it 50-50, right? I would even say 60-40 stocks. Stocks, crypto. 50-50, you can do that, or you can do 60-40. That is my personal opinion. And I think it's the best time to see the opportunity, but also invest with money you can lose. That's very important. So if you're going into trading, use trading, right? Use trading. Okay. Make your profits. And you know what you want to do with those profits? Invest it. Don't spend your profits. Don't buy the Gucci belt, right? Invest it. Invest it in you. Invest it in markets. Invest it in opportunities. Invest it in experiences like the convention that we have coming very soon. Invest it in you. Invest it in the markets. Invest it in you getting ahead. Don't just spend this. Because if you just spend trading, then I'm sorry to tell you, you're playing the wrong game. Trading is not here to add to your cash flow. It's not. It's to add to having more money to do more with investing in yourself and other things. But that's my best piece of advice because I've seen so many people be in trading and make 5K in trading and they go spend it on shoes. They go spend it on X, Y, and Z. They go spend it on things that they don't even gonna use in the next 5, 10 years or even remember. And then that 5K month turns into the next month being a negative 1K, and then now they're down bad, and then now they think they're bad at trading, which is not the case. It's just the timing in the market, right? You're not always going to have a profitable month. I'm just being real, right? All the traders I know that are in the platform, I mean, yeah, they're profitable, of course, but they don't have, you know, 300x every month, right? Some months are break even months. Some months they're down maybe 2%. The next month they're up 10, right? It's not what you do in a month, it's what you do over years. Okay. And the last thing I will say is this. I've been restudying some of these courses because it's something I do because I'm always a student of the game. I'm never too big for the little things like a lot of people I've seen are. Not here, but like outside of here, just saying. People think, oh, I already know it all. That's fine. Do your thing. But there's people like Messi, like Ronaldo, who are still studying, right? There's people, top traders like Jordan Morgan, like Zachary Hogan, that are still studying, right? With people with more experience. So I highly recommend my course recommendation of the month, my opinion, on top of what I said, is Valentino's. I honestly be going through this again. I went through this when this first came out, and it is super in depth. Like, this is a gold mine. Like, what we have is crazy. Like, when I go through the courses again, I'm like, bro, like, damn. Like, I didn't have this course when I first started. It wasn't even close. To be honest with you, it wasn't. And I'm grateful that we have it now. So I highly recommend if you're already graduated from the freshman or even, you've had some repetition, watch Valentino's bootcamp this month. It is a good amount of content. It might take the whole month. Some people get it done in 1, 2 weeks, right? It's a lot of content, but it's very, very useful. And some of the things I talked about now are actually here and I got like a refresher of it. So that's why I'm saying it with fresh intent, right? But other than that, fam, I appreciate you guys for being on today's call. A reminder, we do have an amazing convention coming very soon. We already have, I want to show you guys this before we end the session, actually. We already have around 22, 23, because I know, the boy Allen's about to be added in here. We got around 22, 23 people in the portable convention chat. And remember, we're going to be starting that challenge very soon, that flip challenge. So with Junior. So if you want to be a part of this, I highly recommend to book your flight or get your convention ticket for this convention and get your spot in there. This is going to be super legendary. I'm excited for what's coming within Portugal. We're literally only, does it say how many days? No, it doesn't. Oh, we're 33. Is that true? September. Nah, we're a little bit more. But we're a little bit over a month away. We're around like 30, like 40-ish days away from the biggest convention in Zinrai history. And a lot of us have never been to one in Zinrai. I went to the last one in the Bahamas. There's only a couple of us. And I'm excited to have 30, 40, 50 people at this convention. So again, get your ticket. Make that commitment because remember, investing in you will never be a negative thing. And this is a big investment for you because you'll be able to be around this information around us and also get to know what's to come as well. So again, with saying that, I appreciate you guys for being on today's session. I'm excited for what's to come because we always like to say the best is always yet to come. All right, familia. So I'll see you guys very soon and I'll see you guys on the next session. All right. You guys have a good one. Peace.
I claim the stars, I claim the sky. Unlimited dreams, I'm aiming high. My pulse, it hums a golden sound. Wealth in the air, it circles round. Open